This information literally just released today, as far as I'm concerned, because a storm knocked out my power and my internet for the past 48 hours. This is the first time that I've seen it, so I'm going to pretend like it's the first time you've seen it. We have two things to look at. One is a big old blog post about Harbingers of Ruin, which is the upcoming patch. I'm looking for something called Harbinger, something called Nemesis. We know that there's two mechanics incoming. We don't know which one's which. We'll find out. We also have this. I haven't watched it. Let's watch it. Quality. Enhance. Audio. Enhance. Big screen. All right. Ready? Ready? I haven't seen this yet. It's muted. That's so lame. Why would I mute this? Oh, all my hype is gone out the window. Refocus.
You remind me of him.
Oh.
Traveler.
Oh.
It's that same unwavering hope that led us straight into oblivion. And now, you're part of a war that you don't fully understand.
Hundreds of balance changes.
I tried to warn you, to spare you, but his eyes are upon you now. There is no time left.
It says Pinnacle Boss.
No
Forward one.
No hope. His harbingers are coming.
All 100 balance changes are just for Ward. Nothing else. This is a good step up from their last thing, right? Like their trailers are good. They've had good trailers before, but like this, could you please play a second time? Come on. But like this part, like the zoom in on the eyes.
Traveler.
That's like,
it's that same unwavering.
Like I'm not turned on, but I could see potentially how somebody else.
Hope.
It's just a really intimate camera angle.
Into oblivion. And now,
someday, I want to fight. I want to fight the worm. Wherever that worm is, I want to fight the worm. The worm that's in the background there. That I don't care about whatever boss this is. This worm thing in the background. If we don't fight that someday, I'd be very disappointed. It's having a hard time loading. There's lots of little pieces of this that we could talk about. But first things first, I'm going to turn down the quality just a tiny little bit. Can we, let's see, can we click around a little bit? Click. There's some cool moments here to talk about.
And now, you're part of a war that you don't fully
beautiful.
Understand.
So it looks like there's like maybe mini bosses. Because like this is like the Argentum arena, right?
Understand.
And this is like the Heorot arena. There's like Harbinger boss for each timeline. Umbra Blade. Dancing Strikes exists? Oh, Dancing Strikes still exists. I saw that. A little evade. An egg? I saw that EHG spoiled to you what the egg does. Which, if I can't offer you an egg in these trying times, I don't know what I'm going to do. Spinny, poison damage, still in the game. Very disappointing. So what was this? Whoa. Forgotten Knights. Let's see. 4, 5, 6, 7. Go for the enemy, drop chance from Harbinger. The tiers of sealed affixes added by empowering a nemesis are 15% higher on average. Gaze of Robus grants +1 additional corruption. +1. It's really not much. Blessings roll their values twice and pick the highest value. Oh, so is this? Do I have to pick between this and Merchants Guild and COF, or is this like in addition to Merchant Guild 2? Surely this is an addition, right? Surely this is an addition. Surely. Harbinger unique drop chance. Timeline harbingers are twice as likely to drop these specific unique items. Slaying something over here. All right, there we go. Hey, Parath, welcome back. What up, dude? It's an addition. Got it. Disintegrate exists. Good.
I tried to warn
Big dog, small little boss. Big dog.
you to spare you, but his eyes
That's
are
so
upon you
visually.
now.
Oh fuck, it's so good. That's a lot of purple.
There is no-
As a Void Knight enjoyer myself, there's an appropriate amount of purple in this pack.
Time left. No refuge. No.
Look at that expanding circle there. Big Maven vibes from Path of Exile, right?
His harbingers are coming.
Big Void Doggo. Okay, good. Purple, perfect proportion. Yeah, perfect. Yeah. All right, good. So, enough of this. Get out of here. This, on the other hand, we're going to do some reading because I know that my audience and I share the inability to read. So let's go ahead and get started. This is the Harbingers of Ruin. This is everything that's starting on patch 1.1, which will be 1 to less than 2 weeks. So I guess they spoiled this 2 days ago, so 2 weeks. But for me, less than 2 weeks because I had a power outage because, you know, that's what storms do to you when you live in the Midwest. So we watched the trailer already. We got a couple things to talk about. Evade, Nemesis, Harbingers of the Forgotten Night, Pinnacle Boss. So it looks like one singular boss encounter. Boss defenses. I assume that this is the boss DR stuff that they've been teasing for a long time. I'm good. Glyph of Envy. They said a while ago that there was going to be one crafting material that they planned on introducing into Last Epoch that they didn't think anyone would ever in a million years guess how it worked. It's this. I'm pretty positive that it's this right here. Harbinger's Needle is brand new. New unique items. They're teasing 4. Is it 4 or 5? I think it's 4. Like 4 of the new unique items. So let's do some browsing. Quality of life. Other changes. Oh. So take a look at this. For those of us that were here with us in the beta, we previously done a hype week with smaller blog posts leading up to the patch. This time around, we're going to be combining them into 2 big blog posts. Why? If I had to guess, they're doing 2 big blog posts because there's a bunch of people on Reddit who are like, why is there no big blog post? Why aren't they doing anything? So I think EHG is just trying a different cadence to see how this is received as opposed to the trickle of a hype week in the past. I think they're just trying it out. So if you like this, tell them. How's Evade look? Evade is something that I guess every action RPG has these days. I hope that it's not just something you use for speedrunning. If it's only something for speedrunning, boring. If it's something that has mechanics that interact with it during, end game or different itemization, or maybe it scales with movement speed, if it does anything else, I'll be happy. So let's give it a read. Dodge roll mechanic, highly requested feature. Everybody wants it. Evade provides a fast, short distance movement, allowing players to quickly avoid many powerful attacks. We call it evade rather than dodge roll for many reasons. The first is that dodge is already a mechanic, so we do no overlap. The second, that evade is not always a rolling move for all characters. So we actually saw in the video, I didn't call it out, but you saw that there was like a little like float forward that the mage did. So maybe it's not just a dodge roll. You can float too if you want. It's important to note. Oh, what's this? Let's say, how does it actually exactly work? All characters have an evade available from level 1 by default with 2 charges. As your character increases, character level increases, its cooldown recovery speed will increase as well. Does it scale with CDR? I assume so. I don't know. I assume so. It's important to note that evade does not grant iframes. Cool. It lets you move easily. You're still vulnerable to damage during it. If you evade, but you're still inside an area of attack, you will take damage. This is why we wanted to avoid confusion with the existing dodge mechanic. Good. Sounds great. Here's a screenshot of what it looks like. I assume that this will make early game feel amazing for classes like Sentinel that like you get access to lunge and you can only lunge to an enemy, but if there's no enemies nearby, if you're trying to evade something, you just kind of walk around like an idiot. I think evade's going to feel really good on someone like a Sentinel who only has a targeted movement skill early on in the game. Hopefully it does something late game as well. Crab? Crab. Summon crab. Oh, did they tease that? The crab thing? Did they tease the crab? Crab. Oh, evade. This one right here. This one. Evade is replaced by summon crab. Is this the first coral ring unique item? Is it? Wait. This post is super relevant. What's that crab doing? Oh. It's a colorful crab. It's a disco crab. All right, I'll take it. Boop. Yes. Okay, so this is the first ever unique coral ring. Good. Why does that matter? Because if you want vitality for some reason or you're a Void Knight, there's the entire LP system. So every time that we get a new unique item in the game that is the first of its type as a base type, especially like an end game viable base type, you have to imagine like, okay, this is cool. It gives you crabs. You could ignore the crabs if you wanted to. But what if you just had swiftness, percent armor, +6 all attributes on your vitality stacking Void Knight ring, and then you had like 2 or 3 LP on this ring over here? That to me sounds like a big game. This is a very generic ring. Looks great to me. Let me scroll up real quick in case I missed anything. The most important thing, evade mechanics allows us to handle baseline mobility for all characters. Sounds great. By introducing an evade mechanic, we also open up some build opportunities within Last Epoch. Most builds currently feel forced to include a travel skill. That's true. Speccing it or not speccing it, at least having it on your bar. It takes up space. By providing all characters with the default method of moving quickly to avoid enemy attacks, there's not as much pressure. So like, you don't have to build movement speed on your boots, but you do. You don't have to have a second movement skill. I would assume that most builds will probably still have a movement skill, but maybe not everyone. Maybe not everyone. We want to make sure that evade mechanic wouldn't simply be replacing traversal skills in general. As such, evade will not have a skill tree or be assigned on a slot on your skill bar. You can still change its keybind. Excellent. There's some unique items that interact with it, including summoning a crab. Hilarious. So there's a new pair of boots. Increased cooldown recovery speed for evade. Adorable. I like it. What is this? Flights of Katzeri. Evade charge. Cooldown recovery speed for evade. For Fury Leap. Haste after you use evade. Haste after you use a traversal skill. Haste effect, level 13 pair of boots. Awesome. Love it. Yeah. So what's Nemesis? We know that there's like 2 things coming. There's like the whole Harbinger, and Harbinger includes the end game pinnacle boss. But then there's also something that they teased called Nemesis. So let's find out what this is. New random encounter. God bless. Whew. You know what? Can I scroll up real quick? Hold on. Wait. I am so looking forward to having more density of things to do in the monoliths. We had the little box that they added. It shows up on your minimap as well. We had the exiled mage, and like those are the first 2 things. But like the game is, less than a year old. It's had a long beta, but as we add more and more stuff into each individual echo, I think it's going to feel better and better and better. So this is exactly the kind of thing that I'm looking for. Let's see. By the way, EHG, if you're out there, I'm still waiting on Val side areas. I think Val side areas would work really well in Last Epoch. But that's okay, beside the point. 1.1's primary focus is the pinnacle boss thing. Many players may take some time to reach that point. We wanted to make sure that these players didn't feel left out for 1.1. You got some stuff going on. And it's all poison damage. No, it's not. Upon spotting one of these powerful warriors slain by a harbinger with its armor circling around its body, you will be provided with an opportunity to add more loot to your hoard. Interacting with the remains will present you with a window showing several items from the Nemesis, as well as 3 options for what you would like to do regarding those items. You could banish, which is, I don't want to fight this guy, and I don't want his loot. You could challenge him saying, I will fight him and I want all the loot that was just shown to me immediately. Or the most interesting option, obviously, Empower. By selecting Empower, Nemesis will awaken, he'll attack you in his rage, but he won't drop any of the loot that he just showed you. You will encounter that same Nemesis again next time in like the next Echo or the next story zone. Next time, which will have the same items available, but giving them potentially increased affix tiers, maybe increased foraging potential, maybe increased legendary potential. Empowering a Nemesis can add affixes to items, including non-experimental sealed affixes. Empowering is able to upgrade sealed non-experimental affixes all the way to rank 6 and 7, which has never, in the history of Last Epoch, been possible. You could find tier 5 sealed affixes using the Soulfire Bastion, and that was cool. Now, you can get tier 6 and tier 7, potentially, by interacting with this thing here, the Nemesis. You can power a Nemesis twice, increasing the quality of the rewards. Cool. Once an empowered Nemesis has been banished or defeated, the next one will be new. Cool. This very reminiscent of the kind of thing that I would expect to find in Path of Exile. What does that mean? It seems lightweight. It seems that after you spend 30 seconds understanding what the menu is showing you, I think it will be just like kind of like in the flow of things. It's like, you know, empower, or if everything sucks, banish it and keep move on with your life. I think that this is something that'll feel good to interact with because it'll be so quick. Hopefully. What is this? Egg. So egg, it's a relic, technically. It's a unique stone, kind of. So Nemesis, it's not worth reading this. Let's read down here and then we'll scroll back up. Nemesis can also be found with a special reward type, an egg. If you immediately fight him, the egg will become a random unique item. However, you can replace the egg in the pop-up menu with your own unique item that has no legendary potential. So, for example, if you had a 0 LP Ravenous Void, you could put that into the egg and it might come out with legendary potential. Woo! Oh, that's pretty good. This item is then empowered. It could become legendary, which means that it might just add, you know, some kind of red text to it. Or it might just give you LP. So you get like a 1 LP round. Oh. Sick. Egg? Egg. What is this? Harbingers and Forgotten Night. We get to the titular system, the heart of the new Pinnacle Boss system, coming on July 9th. By the way, there'll be Twitch drops. I don't know if you know that, but there will be Twitch drops. You should also know that the game is on sale on the Steam Summer Sale, currently going on. And in my Twitch chat, if you're watching live, you can type in ! Nexus. You should know that the sale that's going on the Steam store right now is the same sale that's going on in Nexus. It's the same sale. You still get the discount while supporting your very favorite content creators or me. Cool. What is this? Learn more about the history of Orenthia, the Forgotten Knight. Okay, so we gave her a name. Oh, good. Orenthia, the Forgotten Knight, as her past catches up with her. Align yourself with the Forgotten Knights as a new faction, in addition to MG or COF, presumably, and eventually challenge the leader of the Harbingers. So this is the new Pinnacle boss fight. Hot. Very pretty, too. To gain access to the Pinnacle boss, you gotta challenge things. New bosses that can be found in the Monolith of Fate as you progress. You can encounter new Harbingers to progress your ranks of the Forgotten Knight stuff. Harbingers can be found in 2 main variants. There's the Agile one. Maybe that's the skinny one. And there's the Brute one. I think that's the thick one with the hammer. Beyond having greatly different combat styles, the Harbingers also gain abilities from the timeline's boss, bringing unique considerations into each of the 10 timelines. They gain abilities from the timeline's boss. So, like, if you fight the Hayrot one, is he going to, like, shoot icicles at you? Who knows? It seems like that's what it's going to be, right? Let's see. You will need to defeat the Harbingers in each of the 10 timelines before able to unlock the last one. You have a chance to harvest an eye. God, I don't want to like drop an eye or like pick up an eye off the ground. The fact that they call it harvesting an eye, whew, A+ to whoever wrote this phrase right here. You could harvest an eye. Yuck. Which you can use as currency. The first 10 unique Harbingers you defeat are guaranteed to provide an eye with a chance thereafterward. This will provide you with 10 attempts to do stuff. Once you defeated all 10, you can continue to harvest eyes from their skulls. After defeating the first Harbinger, begin your journey with the Forgotten Knights faction. You will find the Forgotten Knight herself in her camp on the Shattered Road. Here you will learn the Harbingers and Orenthia's history. With the advice, you can set on your quest, do some lore stuff. Remember, for those of you who care about lore, there's a lore race that is happening at the beginning 1.1 on July 9th. Something about tracking down all the lore tidbits and doing it first somehow. I don't have all the information yet. What is this? As you make your way through the Harbingers, you can progress your rank. Faction is available with both of these. Love it. Okay, so it's not an alternative choice. Good. As with other factions, increasing your rank does stuff. Drop chance. Let's see. Do they show all? They show this like 9th one here, but they don't show what the 10th one is. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they do later. Cool. Very, very familiar UI at this point. What's this pinnacle boss? With the Harbinger eyes in hand and all 10 Harbingers defeated, you make your way to the portal beyond the Shattered Road. Place an eye on the altar and you'll be pulled into the Harbinger's domain. And you can fight the Purple Dog. Within this domain, you can fight against the Purple Dog and the servant of Arobis, Aberoth. Aberoth? Legally distinct Abaxoth. Your fight will take you through 4 eras. Oh, cool. Each presenting unique arena mechanics and empowering Aberoth with new abilities to further crush your hopes of facing the void. All right, cool. A little disappointed to see that both Warpath and Dancing Strikes are still in the game. I feel like one or both of those could just be deleted, but c'est la vie. With the release of patch 1.1, Aberoth will only be able to be challenged in the online cycle. Oh, so this is what they released that survey about previously, right? That's good. This allows for an opportunity for this new pinnacle fight to only be experienced and learned through natural progression rather than instantly solved by offline, notepadded, perfect gear characters. Good. Once the boss has been defeated in the cycle, Aberoth will be made available to both legacy and offline characters on the next business day. Kind of weird, but honestly, I like it. I think this is a great choice that they've made here. Like watching endgame bosses be one-shot in Path of Exile on day 1 in like Legacy League. Like, I don't want that. Like, let me, naturally discover the boss. I kind of like that. So this next thing here, we talked about the pinnacle boss. Let's move on to boss defenses. So in the past, we had this like boss DR, and I think if I type in ! boss DR, or maybe ! boom, there you go. So I have a clip for those of you watching live in Twitch chat, what boss DR looked like, and it's this like nebulous, confusing thing that happened in the past, and confusing enough that I had to make a Twitch chat command so that I could tell new players what's going on, why their damage plummets when the boss gets low on health. So out with the old, in with the new. God bless. As some of you are already aware, bosses in last Epoch, up until this patch, had a dynamic damage reduction mechanic. One of the biggest issues is that there was very little awareness of it, which is why we made Twitch chat commands for it. It wasn't a very clear system, as it didn't have any visual representation, and it wasn't in the pop-ups on loading screens, and it wasn't in the in-game guide, and it was very easy. It was easy to misunderstand due to the dynamic nature, and generally resulted in the feels bad. I love the online speak. There's no way to communicate this without simply being a member of Twitch chat. Of seeing yourself deal less damage to bosses after a few hits without anything actively telling you why your damage has plummeted. While more damage per second was always still more damage per second, sometimes it didn't feel like that. Dealing more damage early on could also lull you into a false sense of security with more leech from that damage, leaving you more vulnerable later because with DR it means you're leeching less. And so we got this new thing here. If you've been following Last Epoch for the past 2 weeks, they've already spoiled what this is. So we have these breakpoints here. When the boss's health gets to one of those breakpoints, he gains a full health bar of ward. It's the blue stuff. And then when the ward goes down, his health will continue to go down to the next breakpoint, at which point he will gain more ward again. Cool. In response to the feedback, we're replacing boss DDR with a boss ward system. With the new system, when they reach the predetermined breakpoint, they'll get a burst of ward that decays over time. So let's keep reading, and then I'll have my own, extra information that I'll say on the side. So let's get through this first. The ward decays at an accelerating rate. Lower DPS builds will have less total damage necessary to cut through it, because the ward naturally decays, while higher DPS builds will continue cutting through the ward while it decays. This means that higher DPS builds will still kill the boss much faster, but doing so does not suddenly make the bosses sponges for higher damage builds. Good. The system also provides much clearer visual representation of what you're actually doing, so it gives you good feedback, so you're not so surprised while your damage is plummeting. It's because ward popped up out of nowhere. It's a good thing to have here. This created false expectations, blah, blah, blah. Alongside the change, we've made a couple of other defensive changes to bosses. Good. Because boss health no longer has such high damage reduction for high DPS builds, it would inherently be easier to randomly stun them. That's true. As such, we've given bosses 50% more resistance to stun and freeze, effectively adding 50% more life to the calculations. So this is it's 50% harder. It's really easy, right? It's 50% harder to stun and freeze things in patch 1.1 than it's been in the past. What about guaranteed stuns? What about guaranteed freezes? Go on. We've reduced the effectiveness of slow and chill 50%. Sure. Lastly, we're adding a maximum stun freeze duration to powerful endgame bosses, such as Harbingers, to increase the difficulty of CC locking them. If it turns out 1 week or, 1 day into the patch 1.1 that it is possible to CC lock the boss, I will be very disappointed. Hopefully, what they're doing here means that won't be possible. But if somebody walks up to the boss with a bunch of CDR and spams snap freeze and locks the boss before it does anything permanently, I'll be really disappointed. Hopefully that's not the case. I almost said GGG. Hopefully that's not the case. EHG. All right, let's keep going. I said that I wanted to add some color commentary real quick. They kind of talked about it here. So one of the reasons for the boss dynamic damage reduction that happened in the past was to somewhat normalize the boss experience for high DPS builds and low DPS builds. So instead of one of them blowing up the boss and one of them struggling because your build's bad, they wanted to kind of taper in the extreme outliers. And this system, I think in a better, more visually clear way, is going to taper that in. And they kind of outlined why here. Why does the system exist at all? Does the system need to exist? Quite frankly, I don't think so. It's cute that they try to normalize how long these bosses take by slightly reining in the builds that are really good and the builds that are really bad. Kind of a different conversation altogether whether this even needs to exist in an action RPG. So we can leave that for a different time, or we can put that in the comments section, or we can talk about it on Twitch. I don't know, but it's cute. I don't mind it. At the end of the day, what I really care about is it a pain in the ass? Is it tedious? Is it annoying? How is this going to feel after I'm sitting there, on my 10th day of playing for 8 hours straight? Is it going to be annoying, or will it be kind of okay? That's going to be how I judge the system. Glyph of Envy, the weirdest thing they've ever added to the game. Let's see it. A very common area of feedback we see is that it can feel very slow to progress through monoliths on subsequent characters. Got it. So not initial characters, subsequent. When addressing this feedback, we didn't want players to simply skip monoliths, as that can lead to a worse experience, especially for new players. Alongside tweaks to stability rates, how quickly you can fight the boss, we're also introducing a new Glyph of Envy with patch 1.1. This item allows you to greatly accelerate stability gain in an extremely weird way. So, it destabilizes an item, unpredictably changing all properties other than the affix being upgraded. The stability is siphoned to the most recent monolith timeline you entered, greatly increasing stability. Something tier 5, existing sealed prefixes affixes cannot be changed. Grants far more stability if you've never completed the timeline before. Far more stability if you never completed the timeline. Okay. Couple paragraphs. By upgrading an affix, it will have two effects. One on the item and second one on the most recently accessed timeline. So, okay, so you gotta like access the timeline, do something. On the item, it will upgrade the selected affix as normal. In addition, every other property of the item will be changed other than item type. This means that a ring will remain a ring, but the other affixes, as well as the subtype of the ring, will be randomized to completely new stats. Having destabilized the item, the glyph siphons the lost stability and grants it to your most recently accessed timeline. The bottom of the forging window will tell you how much stability it will floop onto your timeline. Glyph of Envy can only be found in empowered monoliths, level 100 zones, and they drop most commonly from rare and harbingers. This helps to reduce negative UX for new players feeling forced to use them. It also prevents interruption for community races where a sudden Glyph of Envy would completely determine the outcome of the race. True. If you were like racing to empowered monoliths or something, or maybe like racing to a harbinger. But Glyph of Envy is still going to have a big impact on like a world's first pinnacle boss, right? I think it's definitely still going to impact like world's first boss kill. But interesting. What's my interpretation of this Glyph of Envy? I suspect that this glyph here will only ever be used to increase the stability of a timeline. I think if you're trying to use this to craft an item, I think you're living in magical Christmas land. Which could work. Maybe. But I think it's only like there's a lot of text on this thing. It's like, well, it does this to your item. It's like, well, it completely dumpsters your item. But like, oh, you could use a Glyph of Envy on your tier 7 affix, and then it randomizes all the other affixes. Wait, but you can't use a glyph on a tier 7 affix. You're not using this for crafting. It'll have some fun stories. There is no way I'll eat a hat. I won't. There's no way that this is going to be used for crafting. Why did they make it a glyph instead of like a button somewhere? I don't know. It's adorable. What a weird way to go about doing this. Sweet. Let's keep going. Harbinger's Needle. It's an idol. Oh my god, it's an idol. Breaks if equipped when you kill a timeline boss above 90 corruption, causing that timeline boss to grant 3 additional gaze of robust, so you can push corruption faster. So like, god, it's an idol. You are potentially making your build worse by like, you like remove an idol, you put this thing in. Can you have multiple? Could I have like 4 of these? Maybe. Is that good? I don't know. It's a new item coming in Harbinger's Ruin to further assist with corruption. Okay, so this is it. The intent of this is to make it easier to push corruption. Got it. Even EHD doesn't know what happens if you have 4 of these. I love hearing that answer. If the unique item is equipped in your idle inventory, when you kill a boss, you'll gain 3 additional gazes. Granting the additional gaze of robust ones. For those unfamiliar, gaze of robust is a mechanic found in the stackable bonuses acquired with defeating the boss. We have some other improvements coming to Gaze Aerobus to make it a smoother experience, but we'll dive into those later. Okay, so the assessment of whether we think this is good, bad, or otherwise, we need to wait until this following QOL post. Weird? Cool. I love weird but cool. You want to equip 20 of these? Of course you want to equip 20 of these. All right, I would watch that TikTok. Just like, what happens when you put 20 of these in? I'd watch it. New unique items. All right, so we are 48 minutes into the video. You can skip the other 47 minutes. What do we got? Unique items. All right. What's the most important takeaway about this? The most important takeaway is that in the Magic the Gathering community, when Wizards of the Coast releases a new set, prior to releasing the set, they give cards, they give preview cards to content creators in the Magic the Gathering space. And those content creators, they hype it up and they show off the new unique item or the new card. And then they're like, oh man, look at all these things you might be able to do with this. Who knows what else is going to be in the set? If it works for Wizards of the Coast, wouldn't it be cool if there were like a person or like a content creator who did like a build contest for unique items? Like, what if that person could spoil a unique item ahead of time and generate a whole bunch of... I'm just brainstorming here. So let's take a look at these unique items. The first one's called the Event Horizon. It's a two-handed mace, which is technically a type of item that you might use someday. When I see two-handed mace, I think Earthquake because of Balador's Wrath. I also think about that Void two-handed mace for Erasing Strike because I used it recently and I was kind of impressed by it. Let's see what this thing does. It's slow. It's really slow. It's got giga damage and some stun chance. 55% penetration against all resistances with melee damage, which is interesting because oftentimes it's like having hybrid penetration is one of those things that really would otherwise limit builds in Last Epoch. Because why do we try to get builds to all be fire damage or all be converted to cold damage or all deal lightning damage? It's because once you get all your damage pointing in the same direction, you can build shred for that element and penetration for that element. But if you got 55% penetration, this actually kind of reminds me, don't do this. Don't do this. But it reminds me of playing like a hybrid physical damage, void damage, Rive? Maybe? Because like I want Rive to be a like a void skill, but it's not a void skill. And it's annoying that you have like physical damage and void damage. But now you got a hybrid penetration. Could be good. Also, man, do you think Rive doubles all the text on this? Do you think Rive turns this into 110% penetration? I don't know. When you use a melee attack and hit at least one enemy, you gain a stack of dilation. 15% more melee damage per stack of dilation. Holy, 150% more. Less attack and cast speed per stack of dilation. Monka. Less movement speed per stack of dilation. All stacks of dilation are lost when you use evade. Movement speed, more damage to slowed enemies. Wow. You could like ignore any one or maybe even two lines of text on this thing, and it still looks kind of huge, doesn't it? Huh. That's big. Let's see what this thing is. Chance to take no damage. Ward, endurance threshold. Endurance threshold added as ward decay threshold. Endurance threshold added as ward decay threshold. So are you building endurance threshold? You're either building endurance threshold or you're using this on like a druid who has a helmet base type that gives you life gain as extra maximum endurance threshold, or you're using the hide skin node in your druid mastery to give you even more endurance threshold. Huh. That's interesting. Cool to see them introduce a new way of scaling ward or ward decay threshold in the patch that presumably ward's getting gutted, right? Maybe? Hopefully? We'll see. Is this item bad? This has a 12% chance to take no damage. No, this item's certainly not bad. But we don't know enough about ward stuff yet. That is not what I wanted to click on. Come on, this thing. This one, Aberroth's, can I make it bigger? Enhance. Nope, basically can't make it bigger. Aberroth's Command, it's this third one here. Void Cleave is now instant and is no longer a movement skill. Hot. Oh, this is unique Obsidian. Is this our first unique Obsidian Scepter? This might be. This might be our first unique Obsidian Scepter. Can Twitch chat fact check that while I keep reading? Void Cleave no longer has a weapon requirement. Beautiful. Ravaging Aura, created by Void Cleave, lasts an additional 8 seconds and have 40% void penetration. Ooh. 268 increased damage over time. Ooh. 25% AoE. Ooh. Void penetration. Oh. Look at this. Holy moly, dude. That's sick. Oh. It's instant cast. Void Cleave instant cast. Huh. What? You could numlock it. Oh. Oh, it's the second unique Obsidian Scepter. Oh, Shattered Cycle. Good. Yeah. Yep. Shattered Cycle is like cast speed or something on it, doesn't it? Interesting. I could almost not read the quiver because, you know, it's a quiver and we'll see in patch 1.1 whether marksmans use bows. They might. They certainly didn't in patch 1, but maybe in patch 1.1, it'll all be different. So this has some LP on it, sure. Why does it have LP? It's weird. Dodge rating, sure. Chance to get a Dust Shroud on dodge. It's 40%. I don't know. Chance to get a black arrow on dodge. Okay. Potentially not annoying. Having a way of automating black arrows is nice. I would like to see an overhaul to Dark Quiver and just see that skill substantially updated. But, you know, in the meantime, maybe this is cute. Void damage per Dust Shroud when using a black arrow. Okay. Probably not something that I would mess with, but hopefully someone does. When using a black arrow. I wonder if you can generate like black arrows fast enough that you could also scale attack speed. Because ideally you want like a black arrow on every single attack, right? Let's keep looking here. In closing. Oh, that's it. Got it. Thank you. Quality of life. They have not told us when the patch notes are coming. So if I had to guess, I would say that the patch notes are coming on July 7th, which would be 2 days before the patch. But there was a Reddit post by, I think, EHG Mike, who's Eki Marcher on Reddit. I think it was him saying that they wanted to do the patch or the patch notes earlier than that. So like if they drop on Saturday or even Friday, I honestly wouldn't be surprised. So I'm still going to bet Sunday. But if they happen on July 5th or even July 6th, we'll cover them because that's a fun thing to do. Let's take a look at Twitch chat to make sure we're not missing anything too important. Twitch chat, what's going on? Let's see. Someone said Druid is what I'm thinking as well for the Wall of Nothing. Cool. Oh, pointing out there's 12% chance to take 0 damage when hit, so it obviously does nothing against damage over time. Good. This is an unrealistic shoulder to hip ratio. You know what's funny about that? Calling out the shoulder to hip ratio on the Wall of Nothing here? You know who else has an extremely unrealistic ratio of shoulder to hip? The Primalist. This might be a Primalist item based on the proportions of the body. Let's see. If they leave the insane Dust Shroud stacking from Explosive Trap, it's cracked. Okay, that's a good one. Yeah, maybe Explosive Trap and gaining 100 Dust Shrouds. Was it? Yeah, per Dust Shroud when using a black arrow. Sure, yeah, maybe Phase Point is something that works with Explosive Trap. Hopefully Explosive Trap gets changed. I made a video talking about it was a bunch of like top performing builds on the ladder, and basically every rogue build that wasn't Falconer and wasn't completely busted in the first month of League was using Explosive Trap. A ton of builds were using Explosive Trap because it gives you such good access to damage and defense, and like it's just a good play style as well. Yeah, if if I had to make a list of like 10 things that I thought should be addressed, I think explosive type would be like number 11. So it might be. We'll see. Let's see. Rune Master, Beastmaster, Druid. All right, sounds good. We're going to keep talking about all kinds of stuff today because, again, I lost power over the past 48 hours and I've been completely without power or internet. So we're catching up. If there's any more information coming up about Last Epoch, we'll be sure to be sharing it both on Twitch and on YouTube. But until then, I'll see you on July 9th.